Cool. The next one is Thor: The Dark World. I think we can be quick about this one because I'm assuming we're all gonna give it a horrible review, but I'm not sure. You could be surprised. So let's start with
Okay,
Mark
wait, wait, wait.
McGowan.
How does Captain? Okay, when we get to Winter Soldier, I have things to say. But anyway,
Okay.
Thor: The Dark World. I think I'm going to be the biggest defender of this on this panel. Um, the acting is great in this movie. I think that's one of the things that, and some of the dialogue is also really good as well. Some of the family, like the problem is that this movie forgets who's the supervillain. That's its biggest issue. Is Malekith is supposed to be the problem, but because Loki is popular, we're just doing Loki again.
Okay.
Some of the humor is also good here, but there's too much of it, at least for the situation that it's supposed to be. And also, like for example, Jane Foster, she does like contribute in the end, but it takes a while for her to be contributing and whatever. And they don't spend enough time on Thor and Jane's relationship anyway to develop her in that aspect. I think one of the things is like the first movie, the reason why she was so critical is because she teaches Thor to stop being a douche, basically. So that's why she was so critical there. I think here they didn't know how to utilize her well. There's also a lot more Kat Dennings, which I don't mind, but it's just like also her character is just like comedy relief for the sake of comedy relief. It doesn't really go anywhere. But Hemsworth is the best he's ever like this performance he put in here, and I know people like, and I know even he himself, he said something about how he didn't really bring anything. I totally disagree. This Thor is the Thor we see in Infinity War, if you pay attention. This Thor, because like his performance here, he's two different people. If you look at Thor in Thor 1 and you look at Thor here, he's got that warriorness about him, but he's not reckless anymore. Like
Mm.
he's finally got that maturity of he realizes that he's the one that needs to step up to the situation, but at the same time, he should probably try to negotiate before he starts throwing hands. And there's that brilliant scene between him and Odin where he's like,
Yeah.
"Then what is the difference between us and Malekith?" And it's like, the difference is I will win. And you can see it in Thor's face where Thor's like, my dad is losing it. Like, this is not what we're supposed to be doing here, and whatever. And also the death of Frigga, even though it's like kind of skipped over, the actors really bring the gravitas to that. Where you see that even though we didn't spend enough time with her at all, she was holding the households together. Because even Loki, like, and Tom Hiddleston's performance in that thing was also great. But yeah, the problem with this movie is that yeah, it's too unfocused. They forget who the villain is, and they introduce him in the third act at the end of the third act anyway. And yeah, there's a lot of humor here that distracts from the main crux of the story, and also the ether or whatever. It was just weird. Like I didn't understand how that became an Infinity Stone eventually. But anyway, yeah, like I said, 6.7. I agree with that score. I yeah, but I'm not gonna say that it was like horrible, 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 especially compared to what we have now.
Okay. Cool. Zooks.
Box Buck's last comment actually, what we have now elevates this movie to an 8. What we are watching now, what is it, phase 4 or phase whatever? Phase 4. Hey, this movie becomes an easy an 8. Okay, I think this is this movie also suffers the same thing with Iron Man 3. They weren't locked in on their goal. So they kind of had an idea what they wanted to do, but they didn't have a proper end goal for it. So it kind of meandered. There was a lot of meandering where things were just happening to happen, but not to, and they weren't moving the plot along. They weren't moving the characters along. They weren't moving the plot along. So mm, acting wise, it was good. I enjoy Kat Danning, so I really didn't have an issue with that. Um, uh, And like I think the most disappointing thing was for me the Thor and Jane story. They didn't really do anything with it. It was like kind of there, but just like for this, it was spoken about more by other characters than by them being together and actually figuring some things out. So that was from that point was disappointing. They didn't really make the villain menacing. You just knew he was bad, but there was nothing that you saw that was like yo. This was Shalan. So that was another thing as well they could have improved on. Um, yeah, man. I don't really have much to say about this movie. I think after I was so hyped about the first one, and then this one came out, I was left a little flat, and I'll just give it a 6.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
saying Malekith is supposed to be the villain, but it's just like, is he?
Yeah, look, Malekith feels like a tertiary character in this movie. If I remember, I've,
Yeah,
I've watched this movie like I think 10 years ago, but I feel like I don't even remember any of his lines. I know he was not even speaking in English for the most part, but I don't even remember what he was saying because I don't feel like he spoke a lot in the first place.
and look,
Um,
you don't have to speak a lot to be a great villain, but your presence needs to be felt.
No, but you need screen time. That's the thing. If you look at Malekith, he had no screen time in that movie.
But that's where
that's
the
that's
presence
that's
comes
that's
in.
what yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to say as well. That
Batman had more screen time and was more menacing, in my opinion. The guy, the servant guy,
Yeah.
yes,
Black.
Curse.
yes,
Curse. His name is Curse.
There we go. Yeah, I
yeah.
felt like he had more to him.
And it just seems like half of the movie we're just watching Loki grieve his mom, right?
Yes, and I think this is when the MCU started favoring the popular characters instead of the story.
Yeah, it
I
went
think
Game
this
of Thrones. Yeah.
I think this is where it started because everybody loved Loki, but like dog, this is not a Loki movie. Loki is a secondary character.
Um.
Yeah. Anyway, as I was saying,
Oh.
Okay, sorry, continue.
Yeah.
um, so also Anthony Hopkins' performance here is amazing. I mean, one of my favorite lines in all of MCU movies is "Your birthright was to die." I really like that. It's like he was just flexing for a second, like, guys, don't forget who I am. I'm Anthony Hopkins. And they were still using that whole Shakespearean thing, even though it was really diluted in this movie. From the first movie to this one, there was still some Shakespearean stuff, but it was very, very much diluted. Um, the Warriors 3 also, they just have a cameo in this one. And you finally see Zachary Levi because they always wanted him in this one, but he just has one line. He's gonna betray you. I'm like, that's all. You guys should have just brought the first actor in this. But yeah, the fact that Loki betrays Thor again, it kind of sucks for me because it's like, what are we doing, dude? You just lost your mom. You should be closer to your brother. Captain America cameo is cool. Kat Dennings, like Buckmeister said, he said it perfectly. Actually, it feels like I feel like he read my mind. There's a part where he kisses someone, and I feel like, why? It's not necessary for this moment is not necessary whatsoever. you know but I would say if I had seen it and I'm not a comic book fan, I probably might have liked it just because of the humor aspect alone, but it's not one of the movies that people talk about when they talk about MCU movies. I don't think it even comes to mind unless we're talking about some the least favorite movies in the MCU. So for me, um I'd be with Buck on this one and give it a 5 point. No, let me be honest, 6.5. That's me.
Be honest. Going full Beckham. Cool. 6.5. You said.
Yeah.
Cool. 1 minute.
Yeah, boy.
Cool. So, you guys, I feel like you guys have covered a lot of what I was gonna say. I do actually. Funny enough, now that Zuko has said it, I do think that the newer movies have polished this one by mistake, if you know what I mean. Like
Mm.
the reasons to be angry about this movie get heavily diluted when you look at what the slop we're being fed right now, where we're like, be grateful and be happy. You know what I mean? Like,
Prison slop.
yes.
No,
Like,
at least the dialogue in this one is good. Like that's the thing. Like the dialogue between the characters, it feels like it's characters talking. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like this is a director trying to, like, if you compare this
To Love
to
and Thunder.
Thunder, oh my god.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Speaking of the director, actually, the director is
Velvet was kind of scary and kind of had agency versus Gore. Like Gore was right in front of Thor at some stage, and Thor is like, "I gotta talk about my relationship. Hold on, keep kidnapping the children." What? Anyway.
but yeah, the director's name is Alan Taylor, different director from one of my favorite directors, Eric Bana, who did the first one. And I think that's why we lost some of that Shakespearean talk.
Is it not Kenneth Branagh?
Sorry, Kenneth Branagh. Sorry, Kenneth Branagh. That Shakespearean talk. Kenneth Branagh is into that because, as you know, we did a video on what's it,
Frankenstein, yeah.
So if that man, if anyone can do fancy dialogue, it's Kenneth Branagh, and that's probably why we lost it here. They probably tried to catch up on it. I mean, this guy did Terminator Genesis, so that gives you an idea of kind of the directing that we kind of got here. I feel like you'll notice how none of us mentioned the climax like at all because it was
It's forgettable. I don't remember the climax.
Yeah, exactly. I know they had to like teleport to different locations at the same time. It just there's a lot of forgettable things in this movie. I even forgot about how good. You're right. You guys reminded me now how good the performance of Anthony Hopkins is. I almost want to break away into a tangent about how good Anthony Hopkins is in everything he does. He takes every role he takes seriously, and even in this little bit, he goes ham.
What? Did you watch Transformers 5?
Nah, his rent was due that one. I guess. I didn't watch it.
Anakolota takes.
But you cannot tell me that the guy who was in Fracture or who was in The Mask of Zorro or who was in whatever you can think of was not brilliant. This man is impeccable. Westworld.
I'm not taking nothing away from Anthony Hopkins, but hey, dog, I don't know what that was in Transformers 5. But
No, I get it. I've even read 2. The movie Red 2. I didn't really feel his performance in that one. It wasn't bad, but it was forgettable.
But anyway, I was just saying that I remember the climax. I think the climax was because it kind of reminded me of like Mortal Kombat meets a game called Portal, because they were basically portaling bits and pieces off of Malekith. So I thought that was kind of cool because it kind of took everybody to beat him, even though it should have just taken Thor. But I guess because he had the ether. But yeah,
I had to give people something to do. But my opinion, wasn't a big fan of it. I just think it was a downgrade, but at the same time, with things we're getting now, I can almost respect it more now in comparison. But in my opinion, big downgrade from the first Thor movie, which I thought was underappreciated. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5.5. I don't think it gets elevated to such a big number, and we got to give some of these movies low numbers. So yeah, but then yeah, so that's my score. Anyway, Seppo, I mean Dushan. I'm used to his name.
So you're just gonna keep butchering my name every time.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah, man. Thor 3. Yeah, it was a little bit not very memorable.
Thor 2.
Oh, is it Thor 2?
2, not 3.
With the ether.
It's the one with the dark elves.
The red juice.
And the ether.
Oh, yeah. So that was the second one. Honestly, it wasn't that memorable of a film for me. One thing that did catch me off guard with it, that I do remember, I think it struck me, was how dark it looked. Right? It almost felt very like DC-esque. I'm just talking about the actual like color and the photo of like how everything. I don't know if it was meant to mimic the fact that I think it was taking place in Europe or something, right?
Yes.
With this one, yeah. So I don't necessarily know if that had something to do with it, but that was a little bit off-putting, especially when you mix that in with very bad CGI. Oh, the ether itself and how it looked. I mean, it's just this red. What do you even call that substance, bro?
Cranberry
You know?
juice.
Yeah.
Look-
So yeah. So the floating auras, it didn't necessarily do it for me, you know. But it was fine, I guess, in some aspects. Jane Foster's friend, I remember her. She was a bit annoying. But I do think she had something to do in the last fight, right? Because with the portals or something, she helped with the fight or something. Yeah, so I mean, I guess maybe she had like a different dynamic to Jane, who also for me kind of like just falls into the wayside because she's another smart scientist. Like, oh, how many of those do we have in Marvel? You know, yeah. So overall, and Malekith as well. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just have very high standards for villains, right? But yeah, he just had like clones, bro. Like like Star Wars where they had like the white troopers and stuff. He just has an army of those. Maybe one good guy, and he himself is not very compelling. So it was overall very flat, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I'd probably give it like a solid 4. But what I will say,
Jeez.
right? I do like the fact that we went to Asgard, although we didn't necessarily explore the people. Because what I'm supposed to understand with Asgardians is they're supposed to be like a race of super tough warriors or something, right? So I don't necessarily know if we exactly got around to that. Even Thor's friends, I think Thor had friends at some point, right?
The
Like,
Warriors 3.
is that in 3?
Phase when we get to phase 4 of 7 Up, like you guys better be doling out 1s and 2s. I don't think you guys realize how bad.
That's funny, bro.
But it was just very poor, man. It was very poor. Like even as like mind junk, like there's some movies that even if the story isn't very well done, right? But everything else from a presentation point of view, like Avatar, it just looks beautiful. So you forgive those things, right? But Thor didn't look beautiful to me to cover up the misses and the mistakes enough, Yeah, so I think that's my main issue with it. But overall, it was fine. It wasn't as bad as I guess what we're getting now. But it still doesn't get over
If
like
you're
a
giving
5.
this a 4, what are you gonna give Love and Thunder? -3.
We'll see.
Oh, kind of is that hard mess, bro. Oh, now you kind of like giving me like an idea of like how low the bar is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty low. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm still writing off of like yeah. But still okay. Maybe 6. I'll give it a 6.
At least, dog. I'm telling you, dog. Yo,
Yeah.
you
No,
just
no,
you
you're
watch.
right about Love and Thunder because I still have my complaints about that too. But it's fine. We'll get to
Hey,
that
you
when we get to it.
watch Ragnarok. It's like Whiplash. It's like, oh, you guys actually used to take Thor seriously.
Well, yeah. So
Look
that's
what they did to my boy.
they massacred my boy. Yeah.
Remy might join us. I don't know. So I don't think I'm not paying attention. I'm just in talks with him. So
Remy LeBlue.